Good afternoon. I'm Shanita, and the uncertainty of the current situation has led to uncertainty in one's career. Many people have lost jobs and are now looking for new opportunities. This masterclass is being organized by JobsForHer to enable us to work through the scare and come out stronger than ever. So this class today on how to get back on your career path after a layoff, hosted by Sonal Bahl, founder, career strategist of SuperCharge, will help you get back on track. Well, I take this opportunity to introduce Sonal. Sonal is a career coach and founder of SuperCharge, a career advisory firm with clients in North and South America, Europe, and Asia. A former HR director, she served for almost 2 decades in HR leadership roles in leading firms like GE, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and others in Europe, Asia, and Latin America. Please keep yourselves muted and we'll take questions after the session. Over to you, Sonal.
Thank you, Shanita. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks to everyone who's here. A very warm welcome. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here. I'm going to get started because I'm mindful of time. We have a little less than an hour together, and I want to make sure you make the most of the time that we have together. So this is a very relevant topic for everybody watching, right? And if you're here, the chances are that you've either, lost your job recently, or you've got loved ones family, friends who've lost their job recently, and maybe you're here for them. So when it comes to losing your job and getting back on track, I think you're in the right place. You couldn't have been at a better place today. I can guarantee that. And I'm going to tell you in a minute, I'm going to tell you why. So I'm going to get started with my presentation. So I just need a quick, just let me know that you can see me, as in you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome, perfect. So we're going to get started with the topic today on how you can get your career back on track. And why do I say that you're in the right place? Okay, so before we get any further, what you can expect today is a little quick introduction on who I am, what I do, so you have a better idea of how this is relevant to you. And I'm going to share 8 tried and tested strategies that you can apply in your career, in your life, starting today. Yeah, I'm all about being practical and making things actionable. Otherwise, what's the point if we go back and think? There's nothing wrong with thinking, but I think sometimes action trumps thinking. So there's a little bit of a typo here. 3 mistakes that I see people making in my career as a career coach, and I have also seen this mistake happening in my own career. I have no problem sharing, I think, in the interest of learning, sharing some things that worked well and some things that did not work well. So everything I'm going to be sharing today, guys, comes from girls, comes from my personal experience. It's tried and tested. It's not armchair, theory that I'm sitting in my ivory tower and I think this is what people on the ground are going through. No, this is from the ground, direct experience. So, okay, little bit about me and why I think it's not so much about me, but I want you, if you can, to see a little bit about you in there, a little bit of your own story. And everything I'm sharing today, like I said, it's through my lens, right? You talk to 100 coaches, you're going to get 100 different answers on what they can do to get their career back on track. So obviously, everything I share today, take it with a pinch of salt. Apply your own discretion, apply your own, context to everything. Because when we copy paste people's advice, that's when I think real danger happens, right? Take what's relevant to you. Some of it may not be relevant. You may not be able to relate with it. Feel free to throw that out the window. Absolutely no problem. So as Sharnita already shared, I have worked in HR for almost 2 decades. And for the last couple of years, I'm working as a career coach. I've started my own business. I'm from India, New Delhi, born and brought up. Worked at GE Capital there for about 4 years and then moved to South America. And I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, in consulting there, and then came to Europe to study, to do my MBA. And then stayed here. I've worked in the meantime in telecom, mining and chemical, food ingredients, all sorts of interesting industries, with C-level, internal sort of stakeholders, primarily on how they can develop and retain their top talent. And in all these different places, I've also had the good fortune of assimilating the local culture. I'm fluent in French, fluent in Spanish, and I speak a little bit of Dutch as well, where I'm living currently in Belgium. I also want to say that I have been in HR. Anybody who's watching who's in HR, you would probably know this. You sometimes have to let people go, right? I have had to fire dozens of people during the course of my career. So my advice today is coming from an HR director hat. However, I have also lost my job multiple times. Okay, I've talked about it very openly on LinkedIn. I'm not ashamed of it. And I think that there is a stigma, and we're going to talk about that today. There's a stigma attached to talking about losing your job. Like there's something wrong with you, like you're a defective product, right? We need to let that stigma go. And so losing my job, letting people know they've lost their job are topics that are very close to me, right? That's what I meant by it's real stuff from the ground. And I've seen this applying to my own career and my client's career as well. Quickly, a little bit about me. I'm sorry, about the company. So this is primarily, I primarily work with people in different, in industries and, vice presidents, etc., at a senior level. And there's all sorts of interesting challenges. There's a lot of ego, which has to be dismantled. The more senior you are, the harder it is to ask for help. And that's pretty much what I do. So let's get started on the tried and tested tips. I'm gonna every now and then stop to ensure, that everything is okay, you can hear me. And of course, we do have time for questions in the very end. Having said that, if sometimes there's a very burning question, you want to put it in the chat and you can't wait till the end because it's very relevant to the topic on the slide, I don't mind being interrupted. Feel free to do so. And let's, keep this as interactive as possible. I'd like you to first understand what has happened is not your fault. And how do I know this for sure? I know it for sure. We're in a current, we're in a pandemic, obviously. We all know that. You know that, I know that. You are being told all kinds of stories. You're being told that the demand is not there. Yeah, the economy is on a downturn. All of this makes a lot of sense. Jobs have been canceled. The position no longer exists. There's no need for the position. I get that. You get that. However, there is sometimes a nagging feeling in our mind that says, why me? Yeah, I've got friends in the company who's still there. Why weren't they let go? Or I've been told it's because of restructuring and because of COVID-19. But there is another nagging thing in my brain that says, could it be my performance? Maybe you were even told it's your performance, right? That you're not the right person for the job. And, companies are being a little bit ruthless and they're, trimming the fat. Yeah, I've heard all kinds of horrible terminology being used. I'd like you to listen, just hear it out, listen, and you've got to throw that out the window. And why do I say that? Like I said, I have fired dozens of people during the course of my career in multiple countries, right? Having said that, I have followed these people's career for years and years. And what I've seen is they actually did pretty well, right? Imagine I fire a marketing manager because I'm told this person's not performing. And, in HR, sometimes, you can put your foot down, but at the end of the day, if it's a business decision, it has to be followed. Okay, I told that marketing person very nicely, with empathy, all of that stuff. But being fired is being fired. It's not a nice feeling. I know that from experience, and maybe you guys watching, it as well. But I kept in touch with that person, or they kept in touch with me. We kept good relationships. I followed them on LinkedIn. They did pretty well. In fact, one could argue that they did even better than they did when they were in the same company that I was in. What does that tell you? That, it could have been the environment, right, where they were operating. And in that environment, they weren't able to bloom, shine, thrive, right? Sometimes it's a culture misfit. Or it could be the boss. Yeah, let's not forget the politics, the crap politics that happens where maybe you were a threat to your boss. Maybe you were a threat to your boss's boss, or the management in general didn't like you because you had all the smart ideas, and they didn't necessarily want a girl to come up with those ideas. I'm not saying it is the 100% case with you. I obviously don't know. I'm not in your shoes. But I really, really want you to separate what has happened from you as a person and understand that it's not your fault. I can't stress this enough. I have gone through years of thinking, what is wrong with me? And only later I realized, but I did pretty well later. So what happened? Yeah. And that for me was a revelation. And I hope that is something that's sticking in your mind right now as you're listening to me, and making you realize that you've got to separate the event from the person. Any questions? No? It's quiet. Okay, I'm going to move to the next one. So the second tip after this one, once you get this one in your brain locked in, I really, really want you to take some time to recover. I have clients who lost their job last week and they've come to me, and it is so fresh. Like, I literally have a client who lost their job yesterday and they came to me today. What happens is you need to take the time to recover. And if you don't, there's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of anger. Some people say, no, I'm fine. No, it's absolutely fine. No problem at all. This is a business decision. It happens. Come on. We're human. Okay. So there's going to be people around you. There's going to be friends and family who care about you. And they're going to say, yeah, it's been a week now. Or, it's been 10 days now. Yeah, enough. Sonal, get up. There's too much of a pity party going on, and you need to get back on your feet. Enough is enough. You need to start earning. Fine. That's absolutely fine. But what happens is, if you get up too quickly and if you get back on the horse before you are ready, there's going to be accidents, right? You're going to go for these interviews, you're going to be speaking with people, and they'll say, okay, Sonal, okay, nice resume. So what happened in this previous job? And if this is very fresh for you, the inner bitterness and anger that was there lurking inside is going to come out. And sooner or later, you're going to badmouth your manager, you're going to badmouth your company. Never a good idea. Yeah, that's a huge red flag for HR, for managers in general. So you want to take the time to recover. What does recover look like? If it means going to a spa and getting a beautiful meditation massage, that's beautiful. I love it. Great, do it. Okay, let's be practical now in the COVID environment. I don't know if you can do it. But it's more than that, right? It's much more than just, one spa and it's over. It's about wallowing. Recovery looks like different things to different people. For some people, it means venting with their friends and family. I highly suggest you do that. Get it out. Don't let it sit inside and grow an ulcer. For some people, it means binging on Netflix. No problem. For some people, it means having a gallon of, ice cream. Whatever it takes for you to get through it. Your body is resilient. Your body will recover. Don't worry. But just recognize what recovery looks like, what healing looks like. Healing, right? And for some people, it's pure talking to a close friend and just getting it out. Do that. Don't keep it inside. Don't try to show that you're perfect and everything is fine. Because like I said, it's dangerous if you don't, and it comes out in manifests itself in some way or the other. This is the second strategy. Are we on time? Okay. The third thing I want to say is we need to start talking about it. There is a certain stigma, which I already mentioned, related to being fired. Like I said, like some sort of damaged goods, you're defective. And you'll be surprised when you start talking to friends, family, whoever it is who's going to listen to you, you'll be surprised how common this is, right? And I know there's women listening here today, but there's also, I mean, men have a very hard time talking about it because there's a huge ego element attached to it. Like, you know, I'm a failure. Yeah, but failure is an event, not a person. It's an event. And I don't even think it's a failure. I'll talk about it later, where I think it's just wasn't meant to be. Having lost my job 3 times, I can say that from experience. It's just, there were certain signals that I didn't pay attention to. But I can't stress enough on how important it is to talk about it. Because, you know, you go to these interviews and you're trying to hide it and you're saying, oh, it was a mutual decision and, you know, we decided it wasn't the best fit. Sometimes it's not a mutual decision. It's not your decision. It was their decision. So then say it. There's no need to lie and make up stories. So yeah, it was decided with the company. You know, you can rehearse that answer so it comes across as confident. It's not even about what you say, it's how you say it, right? We all know that when it comes to communication, 80% of it is how we say it. So don't be ashamed of it. Let's try to destigmatize it. I have clients, like I said, in all parts of the world. In certain cultures, this is a difficult one, right? Asia, Southeast Asia, Middle East, South America, Europe. Yeah, very few places. I think it's only in North America where people are a lot more accepting and open that you lost your job. In other places, like all these I mentioned, people are hesitant. So I'm not saying you're watching this in India, so it's only in India. It's everywhere. Really everywhere. So it's, you know, to talk about it without any shame, without feeling there's something wrong with you, it's a great, healthy start. Okay. The next thing I want to say is, like I said, you know, there could have been certain signals. This is a great time to go back and think about those signals and how you can learn about yourself, maybe relearn about yourself, right? And don't forget this one. Why? Because otherwise what's going to happen is, if you're going to go back and do the same thing again in another company, and then it'll be like, the same thing happened to me. What the heck? It's bad luck. I don't believe in luck, right? So it's like, what was some of the patterns that you observed and something happened, and how did you react to those patterns, right? Go and understand there. There could be something that is every time it's sticking out and you're like, wow, last time the same thing happened, man. Oh, dude, I was in this project and when the pressure turned really high, I reacted in this way. And because I reacted in this way, the team became like this, you know? So what happened? Or there was a deadline approaching and the boss was saying something, and how did you react when the boss was losing his mind or her mind? Were you the calm one in the team? Were you the crazy one who was also joining in the excitement and the madness? Different things, right? It could be, for example, when I was interviewed, I felt something. I sensed some red flags. I could see them, I could hear them, that maybe this is not the right company for me. You know, maybe something about the vibe, maybe the colleagues were a certain way, or the boss, you know, the way he or she was handling himself in the time of the interview with their body language. I had a feeling, but I ignored it because I needed a job, damn it. Come on, it's not easy to find a job, and I needed a job. Okay, that's fine. As long as you learn from it, that's what matters, right? Because otherwise, if we're going to be doing the same thing, it's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And this is an ongoing process. You're not going to be like, okay, Sonal, I learned about myself, let's move on. I'm learning about myself every day. I'm 41 years old. It doesn't stop. So it's not a one and done thing. You've got to sort of reflect on it, and it could come to you in different ways. It could come to you in the form of a conversation with someone or a conversation with yourself. Okay, I'm going to take a sip. This one is very, very practical. As you can see, I like steps. I'm a step-by-step person. And at the same time, it's good to take like actionable tips. So if you're watching this right now, I want you to take out your pen and paper and note down a few things that I think are going to really, really make a difference. You need an optimal LinkedIn profile. Okay. I'm sure you know this, but LinkedIn is one thing that will make a big difference because you're going to get noticed. So if you have the time and the resources, it's a great investment to work with a career coach. And I'm not saying that because I'm a career coach, no conflict of interest here. It's just that I think working with a coach offers a unique perspective that your friends and family can't give you because they're too close to you. But I'm very real. I mean, obviously we can't be naive. Not all of us are, in a position where we can afford a coach right now. And if you can't, no problem. I'm going to share 4 things that you can do right away in your LinkedIn profile that are going to make a big difference. I call these the Fab 4. And don't worry if you're taking down notes and you're like, trying to put it all together. I have a free resource on my LinkedIn, as you can see on my LinkedIn profile. This document, it's a free document with all the, it's a checklist of pretty much everything that you need on your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to focus on the Fab 4 right now. The Fab 4 are your picture, your banner, your headline, and your about section. Okay. So the picture, if you can, I don't think we can hire a photographer, get a proper headshot. Who's got the money? Who's got the time? Okay, let's get real. The next best thing that you can do, I can't stress enough the importance of a good picture. Okay. And I'll come to that in a second. So the next best thing you can do, I don't know if you can tell, if you can see me right now. Probably you can see me right now. I'm sitting next to a window. Okay, it's natural light. And natural light, particularly on a cloudy day like today, Belgium is always cloudy, is the best light that you see in studios with photographers. You know that white light? So if you can, get natural light on your face, get your smartphone. These days, smartphones have great pixel resolutions, etc. And get a nice smiling picture of yourself. Okay. What's really important is, we should be able to see your eyes, because it's through eyes, it's the windows of the soul. We trust people because we can see their eyes, right? No picture from far away, no picture with kids, no picture with a champagne bottle, no picture with shades, goggles, please. I've seen all kinds of nonsense on LinkedIn. I know this sounds like common sense to you, but unbelievable the kind of pictures I see on LinkedIn. Why are pictures important? There's enough research to prove that recruiters and hiring managers, when they saw, where are they going on a people's LinkedIn profile? There's enough research to prove that the hot spot where people spend the most amount of time is here on the picture and here on the headline. So take the time to invest in a good one and get a good one. Okay. The second thing is your headline. Now, don't forget headline. This is, at the end of the day, LinkedIn, think of LinkedIn as not only your resume, but it's also it's like Google. It's your search engine. You're going to get found on Google. You're going to get found on LinkedIn. So you want to use the exact word titles that are being used on, out there to find someone like you, right? So let's say you're watching this and you're a digital marketing specialist, right? What are the titles they're using to get people like you employed? Are they using words like digital marketing, digital marketeer, digital marketing manager? Yes, then use those. Those are called keywords. You want to use them and you want to front load them in the beginning of the headline. I can't stress this enough. I'm a kind of a fan of using those titles, using those headlines. I want to get found. Yeah, I want to get found when somebody's looking for a career coach. So I'm going to front load it. That's what I call it. Front load it with this type of stuff in the beginning. And then later, some people say, use that, but also have a mission. I like that. If you can, if you have enough space, because I think the space limit is something like 220 characters on to edit your headline. So you want to use it wisely, right? You can have a combination of title, like really appropriate job titles that people are looking for you. Titles, skills. Let's say you have a skill which is very rare. Yeah, not so common. you're an expert in UI, user interface, or UX, user experience. Use that UI, UX. Use that literal thing. And as opposed to, I see some people writing stuff like the best thing to happen, the best designers in sliced bread. Yeah, who's looking on LinkedIn for the best designers in sliced bread? Nobody, right? So if you're going to do that, that means you're already are a business owner. You don't need people. You don't need to be found. Okay, I kind of disagree with that. I think we all need to be found sometimes. So that's your headline. So keep it catchy, keep it short, keep it with the exact title that you see you're being searched for, some sort of skills that you know you have that are in demand, all of that stuff. With that, I think you should be fine. And the third in your Fab 4 is your banner. And this is a very easy one. So if you go to LinkedIn, if you go to your profile, you will see that at the back, you've got this default blue thing, you know, that LinkedIn has and everybody has. It's kind of boring looking. So that's a very easy thing for you to change. One second.
Please mute yourself.
I can't do that. I was trying to do that, but
yeah, no, I just did that.
So a very easy thing for you to do is go to this Fab tool called Canva. Okay, it's free. It's for dummies like me who are not good at design, and you can literally design anything with Canva. So you go to Canva and you go to create a design. It's so simple. You create an account. It takes you 2 seconds. Create an account, and then you go to create a design, and you go to LinkedIn banner. You go to LinkedIn banner. And you can literally like have a selection. There's free, there's paid. I like the free ones. I'm a free kind of person. If I can get a good deal, then I'm going to get a good deal out of it. And change it. You can change everything. It's fun. Once you discover this, it's like a toy. I can't stress this enough. You're going to have lots of fun with it. So that's your banner. Why? We want to help you to stand out, right? This is about standing out. This is not the time to blend in. This is the time to look different from everyone else. So take all the help that you can get. And these 4 things that I'm telling you, the picture, the banner, the headline, these are ways that you can stand out when you first appear in a search, right? Think about it, guys. If you're watching and you're like, I go to Google and I need something. I go to Google. How many times do we go to page 2 of the search results? We will pretty much stick to page 1, right? It's the same thing here. If somebody's looking for someone like you, they're going to go to Google and they're going to click on the search here and they're going to click on people. And you want to be one of those people that comes in first. So these are ways that you can come in first. These are keywords. And this is what I'm doing with you is I'm optimizing your LinkedIn profile. And finally, the about section. The about section is, funnily enough, you think it's about you, but it's not. Make it about the person who's reading. Who's your ideal person who you'd love to talk to? Is it a hiring manager who speaks your language? And you'll be like, okay, this is what I do. This is my story. What are the solutions I provide? What makes me different? If you guys like mine, go to my profile. By the way, when we finish, please go and connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active there, and I share a ton of free stuff every single day. So keep it short, keep it easy to read and have titles in there. I'm a fan of keeping it attractive and easy to read and, very conversational English. You want English that you're not like you made somebody write it and it's really formal and it's not like, this is not me. Don't do that. Keep it as real as you can to yourself. So that's it. That's the LinkedIn part of today. This LinkedIn as a topic, we could have done a whole hour on just LinkedIn, but I think because of time, we got to be very practical. So these are different ways that you can optimize your LinkedIn profile and stand out. I'm going to take more questions. It's very quiet, so I'm hoping you guys are listening and you haven't gone to sleep or you haven't disappeared. I know it's just after lunch in India, so hopefully you haven't disappeared and dozed off. The next tip I have is related to your mindset, and very specifically here, you can see I'm a specific type of person, and mindset is one of those words which is not specific, right? It means many different things to many people. And it's also become a buzzword now, since for the last 15 years or so, mindset. What does it mean? For me, very specifically, I'll tell you what it means. Mindset are, for me, 2 things. The first is, maybe gonna just disconnect because I can't see anybody. So it feels a bit weird. Okay. So The first thing when I say mindset is a mindset of abundance versus the mindset of scarcity, right? You have a lot of people who talk about it. It's not something I've invented. You've got Tony Robbins, you've got John Maxwell, you've got Deepak Chopra, who talk about mindset of abundance versus mindset of scarcity. Mindset of abundance is telling you, hey, there's plenty of jobs out there. Even in a pandemic, I'll be fine. And scarcity is always loud and shrill and shrieking. There are not enough jobs. What are you going to do? Panic. Okay. The mindset of abundance is very calm and it's telling you, I've got plenty of friends who want to help me out. And I'm going to get in touch with them, my warm network, and they're going to do what they can to help me. And the mindset of scarcity is saying, you got no friends. Nobody wants to help you. You know, it's whining, it's complaining. The mindset of abundance is saying, hey, did she just get a job? That's amazing. Wow, I'm so happy for her. And scarcity is saying, she got a job? Damn. Now there are fewer jobs for the rest of us. What are we going to do? Damn it. I'm so angry. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous, right? I don't know if you can relate with it. I can relate with it. I've been through this. The mindset of abundance is telling you there's enough sky for everyone. Be happy for the others. Growth mindset. Let them grow. You're growing. And just because they're growing, it doesn't mean, how do you say? It doesn't decrease the milk. I'm pouring from my vessel, but it's not that they are getting more and I'm getting less. There's enough for everyone. I can't stress this enough, guys, because you can have the best technical tips. You can be told about LinkedIn and job search and all of that stuff. But if your mindset is not helping you and it's not where it should be, all of this will fall flat. Okay? This is not woo-woo, this is science. The second thing I want to say about mindset is that, you know, they say you are the sum of the 5 people. Yeah, if you do a math formula, you are the sum, S-U-M, the sum of the 5 people you most interact with, the most, you know, the ones you hang out with the most. It could be a friend, it could be family members or whatever. I'd like you to go back and audit. Who are these 5 people? What are they feeding you? Are they feeding you with negativity? If the answer is yes, it might be time to separate yourself from their messaging, because their messaging is not helping you. Their messaging is telling you it's not possible. Kya hai? You know, I'm guessing people can understand Hindi here. Kya hai? Theek hai yaar, ghar baitho. There's no need. You don't want that. Whatever your ambition is, you've got to have that laser focus, you know, laser focus on it, and you're only focused on that. And whether it's a coach or a friend or a parent or a husband or whatever that is supporting you, you want that in your team. You don't want losers, because losers are the ones who say it's never possible, right? Why? Because they didn't see it happen for them, so they don't understand why it will happen for you, right? So can't stress this enough, the topic of mindset. So the first was the mindset of abundance versus mindset of scarcity, and the second thing was related to the people that you most hang out with and what are they feeding you, and it's important to keep that in mind. Okay. The seventh thing that I want to say is, again, kind of related to point number 6 on mindset, but it's also about what you consume. And I don't just mean, yes, to some extent it's important what you eat, whatever, what time you eat. I'm not going to get into that. This is not a masterclass on food and food habits and Ayurveda. I'm not going to be doing that. But what I am going to say is, pay attention to the advice that you are consuming these days, right? People have a lot of opinions. I'm sure you guys have noticed, right? If you go out there on social media, you've got thousands of articles from people who are like, how to work from home. This is what you should do, okay? My question is, how many of these people have worked from home in their entire life? How many of these people have kids? How many of these people have in-laws, right? So on paper, things look like, you know what I mean? Like, wow, they look like they're, you know, so be careful on that, because that contributes to that feeling of lack, like I'm not enough, because these people have it together, so they must be better than me. Yeah. So for example, I would not take marriage advice. I will not take marriage advice from a friend of mine who's never been married. Yeah. Would you do that? I doubt it. I would never take parental advice from a friend of mine who's never had kids. I can't. I'm sorry. He or she doesn't know what it's like to have a screaming child, running all over the place, going crazy in lockdown. So if you won't do that, then be careful on what you consume as far as advice is concerned from people who've not really had a career. Yeah, they've not had ups and downs. They look like they've always got their shit together. No, you want people who've been through all sorts of successes and failures, because then it makes you understand a little bit better and you can relate with your own story there. You know what I mean? So that's the seventh tip that I wanted to share. And finally, the last one, the number 8 is what I wanted to say was, you're going to have time. You can have, they say looking for a job is a full-time job. I kind of disagree. Yes, it is a lot of work. I agree, but it's not 8, 10 hours. It's not 8, 10, 12 hours in a day. You're going to have time if you're looking for work. And when you have this time, after doing your networking and sending out meals and sending out, virtual coffee chats, you're doing all of that stuff. If your COVID is over, you're meeting people in person, you're going to networking events, great. You're still going to have time. Okay. Now, I'm a huge fan of volunteering your time. I think that is one thing that has single-handedly made a huge difference to my career, right? In different parts, when I moved to South America and I couldn't get a job, I didn't speak Spanish, I volunteered in a home of little girls, so I was Tia Sonal. Tia in Spanish means aunt. And I was helping them with their homework. It helped me with the language. It also helped me to get out of the house, because it was depressing to see my husband was out all day and I wasn't able to, work immediately. Or here in Belgium, I'm volunteering with like 8 or 9 associations. And I was doing that even when I didn't have work. The point is, when you volunteer your time and you are part of something which is bigger than you are, it makes you really, really, really grateful. And you realize, wow, I'm so lucky. I'm so privileged. Life has been good. And, you can say, yeah, volunteering sounds great, Sonal, goody and all that, but how am I going to volunteer in the middle of a global pandemic? It's a health pandemic. We can't be in contact with people. And to that, I will say, the limit is your imagination. There's so much you can do. It's unbelievable. If there's something you're really good at and you see there is a help, for example, maybe I'm really good at math, right? And I see some kids who are struggling in math, whether it's in other houses or whatever, I can offer tuitions on Zoom. If I'm good at making websites and I see that there is an organization close to me and they're struggling with funding, and I also need to improve some aspects of website building, great opportunity. It's free training. Volunteering is free training. If you go back and look at opportunities, you're going to create opportunities that you never realized existed. They're there. Take advantage of it. What's the point? Otherwise, you're sitting on the couch anyway. Your bum is on the couch. Might as well, if you're not earning anything anyway, might as well volunteer your time and actually do some good in the world. Okay? And by the way, it's not just goody and it's nice to volunteer. There is actually some science behind it. I will link an article that is there in the website of University of Berkeley by a professor who says that volunteering actually gives you something called a helper's high, like HIGH, high. Makes you feel things that, particularly people who are undergoing clinical depression and are really, really stuck where they are and some sort of trauma. But the other thing I also want to say is, coming back to LinkedIn, what's really interesting is that 42% of hiring managers on LinkedIn, there was a survey done some time ago, and they consider volunteer experience at the same level as paid experience. Did you hear that, guys? So 42% of hiring managers consider volunteer experience at the same level as paid experience. So that's a pretty cool thing. Okay, that's number one. The second thing I want to say is 42% of people on LinkedIn, 82% of people on LinkedIn have listed volunteer experience in their LinkedIn profile. So it's not just that you're doing it and it's goody goody and you're feeling good about it. You can actually put it in your LinkedIn profile. Okay. That's as far as the 8 tips is concerned. I'm going to look at the time. I'm going to take a quick pause and see if there's, Shanita, I'm going to see if there are any questions that are urgent or if they can wait.
Come up. How do let's take questions now?
Yeah, let's do that. I have just a short bit left, which will take 5 minutes. Yeah, which one? The one by Ramya?
And then take questions?
I'm actually at your service, whatever you prefer.
Okay. So there's one question from Ramya. How do I convince new employers that I was not fired because of poor performance, but because of budget cuts?
Great question, Ramya. I'm not sure, Ramya, if it's possible for you to come on camera, but I find it a little easier to talk to a person than a picture, but no problem if you can't. I think that it's understandable these days, Ramya. It's not a big deal. So if you literally use the words that you have said here, fired because of budget cuts, it's not a big, you can use that exact language and say it. You've used the language very well right now in the in the chat. It was budget cuts. But if you say I was fired, I was let go, there was downsizing and I was let go because of budget cuts. No, I wasn't fired because of performance. Don't say that, right? You don't want to draw attention to something like that. So you use terminology like downsizing, right? And restructuring, because that is clear. It was because of the company financial performance. And you can say that if you know it's not confidential for you to say that, just share that it was related to that. And I don't think there'll be an issue. All companies know right now what they're going through.
Yes, probably we can finish your last bit and come back to questions.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So the last bit is related to the mistakes that I see pretty much everyone making currently in the job market today. And the first is spray and pray. What does that mean? I'm looking for a job. I don't have a job right now, so I'm going to send my CV out to the whole world. Okay. And I'm going to pray to God somebody calls me back. A terrible idea. Please don't do it. Spray and pray is people think it's a numbers game, and I can't stress this enough. It's not a pure numbers game. It's about quality and not quantity. And secondly, there are very, very few jobs out there that really reply because of an online application, right? I'm not saying it's impossible, but the chances of hearing back from companies in good days, right, in the best of times, is 3 out of 100. And now it's even worse. So instead of, and by the way, I get this a lot, and I'll talk about it in point number 2. You got to treat your resume as some sort of a sacred profile. I wouldn't spray and send it everywhere and hoping, like there's an expression in English, throw the spaghetti on the wall and hopefully it will stick. Something will stick. You don't want that. I can't stress this enough. There's weird copycat people out there. I've done this spray and pray in the past thinking it would make a difference. And I suddenly started noticing my resume, which is a very interesting format. I started noticing that people started using that format. And I was like, hey, what's going on? And I realized, and a coach once told me, be very careful. You've got to treat the entire resume and job application as a sacred document. And it's only to be shared with people. Just give me 1 second. I think a child just walked in. Darwaza band, please. Sorry about that. So you've got to only share it with people that are going to do something with it. Okay, and as opposed to all over the countryside. The second thing I want to talk about as far as mistakes is concerned is leading with what you want. Yeah, we are looking for a job, so we are in our head a lot, and we're like, oh, okay, this really matters, and you should be listening to me right now. So I get about, I'm not kidding, guys, I get 10 messages in my LinkedIn every day, and out of those 10, 8 out of 10 are from India. Okay, India, South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Hi, Sonal, do you know anybody looking for a job? I don't know this person. Okay, why will I help them? And even if I know them, you've got to build it up. You've got to have a relationship first. People are not sitting on the other side waiting to help you. They have their own life. They have different things going on, you know. Or, hey, Sonal, this is my resume. Can you see what points of improvement I need? Okay. Again, there's this thing that we are really the most important thing. It's not. It's not about leading with what you want. It's about leading with what you can give. Give versus get. And you've got to have that KLT, the know, the like, and the trust. You've got to build on the know, like, and trust when it comes to relationships. Engage with people who are hiring. So half the people, by the way, who send me these messages don't even know that I don't have a company. You know, I mean, I'm a solopreneur. So they haven't done their homework. They spray and pray. And then it's like, okay, I've sent my CV to Sonal, I've sent it to 100 other people, you know, koi to reply karega. That's not how it works. Be very, very clear on who you want to target. Have a list of companies. My personal advice is have a list of 20, 30 companies and see who do you know in your network through those companies, in those companies. And thank goodness we have a platform like LinkedIn. We didn't have a platform like LinkedIn when I was looking for work in the early 2000s. It just wasn't there. So you had to do it the old fashioned way. Now we've got knowledge at our fingertips and we don't have excuses to do spray and pray, you know, anymore. And the third thing is, I can't stress this enough, and that is underutilizing LinkedIn. I already talked about LinkedIn in great detail. There's people out there who are passive, who are just watching, who are reading, who are scrolling. But when it comes to being active and contributing and posting, it's not there. Even engaging is not there. I don't want to put a comment. What if somebody sees it? You know, what if? There's an ego thing, you know. And LinkedIn is much more than a job search tool, right? It's become a media powerhouse. It's got articles, videos. It's trying to compete with Harvard Business Review. It's got an editing team. So you want to be able to be in that action. And that's one of the ways that you can stand out because recruiters see that stuff, yeah? So I'll give you an example here. If you go to your LinkedIn profile, you know, there's something that never used to be there before called a featured section. You want to put some things in there that make you stand out, whether it's, you know, you got published in some media, you have an interview, or you have a YouTube website, anything like that. It's a brilliant place for you to stand out. It's the tool, so why not use it, right? So these are the 3 mistakes that I see people making continuously, like every single day I see them making on when it comes to their job search. So a quick recap. Remember we said those 8 tips. You've got to separate what has happened from you as a person. You're a successful professional and you can't ever forget that. You've got to take the time to heal and recover. We talked about that. We talked about talking about it, sharing, and you know, not feeling the stigma and the shame that comes with losing your jobs. Relearning about yourself, going back and remembering those things and how you reacted, and how can you do it better in the future. Your LinkedIn profile and how you can optimize it. Number 6 was related to your mindset on specifically the mindset of abundance versus the mindset of scarcity, and also the sum of the 5 people that you most hang out with. We talked about number 7 was what you consume. Be careful on the advice that you heed from people, and volunteering your time. So I'm just about done. And a quick conclusion before I come back to the questions. Sometimes getting fired is nature's way of telling us that we had the wrong job in the first place. I don't know if this speaks to you. I saw this on the internet yesterday and it spoke to me because I've been fired 3 times. You can call it laid off, downsizing. You can call it what you want, but it feels damn personal, right? It stings, it hurts. So, but later I realized, yeah, it was just not the right place for me. It takes a while to realize it. When you're very fresh and you're in it, it doesn't realize that. So go out there, connect with me on LinkedIn. Like I said, I post a lot of job search related stuff. My website is SuperCharge Yourself. And yeah, thanks for listening. And I'm happy to I can see some questions already, and I'm happy to come to the questions. Shanita, you want to read them out, or you want me to read them out?
Yes, give me a minute. Okay, Namrata asks, with so many companies firing employees, are there any jobs available at all? I want to know about my chances of getting hired again.
Okay. Namrata, I can't talk about what your chances are. I don't know you. But I can tell you that companies are hiring. You just got to go and find them. You've got to look under the carpet, right? On the surface, it looks doom and gloom, right? I can't stress this enough. Everybody's talking about doom and gloom, unprecedented times, challenging times, unusual times. Oh God, I hear these words one more time, like I want to barf in somebody's face. So you hear all of that stuff, just have that laser focus. If I, in the middle of a big recession in 2008, 2009, if I could get 5 offers, and I'm not, I swear, girls, I'm not particularly the brightest. I was in the middle of an MBA. It was a difficult period for me. I went with a newborn baby and I didn't have time for networking. There's a very detailed article on it on my LinkedIn featured section. Check it out. And there's 5 things that I did that helped me to stand out. If I could do it with no work permit in Europe, no networking time, I was busy with the newborn baby. I didn't have a network. I didn't know anybody in Europe. I had lived in South America before that, and I lived in India, and I struggled with the coursework. If I could do it, anyone can do it. And it just comes down to relationships, right? Finding those people, you put your ego on the side, make that list of companies and see what's going on. Who are they hiring? Some of the positions are advertised. Most of the positions are not advertised. So there's 80% of positions, the more senior you are, they're not advertised. So you got to go out there and get work on those relationships before you need them. Okay. And second thing is, go to Google, the dearest, oldest friend, like, okay, companies hiring near me. Just see that. There's detailed articles on it all over the place. There's companies hiring in the US. I know there's companies hiring in India. Go check it out. See what Amazon is doing in India. See what Zoom is doing. See Walmart or lots of different companies, because demand has increased because of lockdown and because of the pandemic. So go there and find out. You need to have a very hungry and curious mind, right? On the surface, it doesn't look like there's a lot of activity going on, but you might have to do a little bit more digging.
Yes. Hiral Shah has been a professor for 6 years, got married recently, lives in Mumbai, and wants to change her career to corporate from teaching. How can she do this? She has a master's of engineering in computer science and technology, and she also wants to know how to change the banner on LinkedIn.
You go to Canva, Hero, that's the easiest thing. I just showed it, right? So let's do the banner thing first. That's the easiest thing. So one sec. This thing is acting funny. Give me a second. My thing is stuck. Okay, here we are. So hopefully you can see my screen now. If you go to LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, sorry. If you go to Canva, you create an account in Canva. It's easy, guys. It's not rocket science. You go to create a design and you go to LinkedIn banner. You create a banner that you want. Then you go to LinkedIn and you click on this little icon and then you change it. Easy. You're like, your kid can do it. Don't worry about it. If it looks complicated, it's not. Hero, the more important question is, when you talked about your career change, I think that's a topic in itself, and I have a whole masterclass on it. We can do it someday, Shanita. I think it's very relevant.
Yeah, sure.
How to change your career. I have a 7-step process for it. The main thing I'm going to say is, what helps really is volunteering your time with the right set of people who you think would value your skills, so that through that volunteering, you're going to have relationships with the right people who are in those companies that you are targeting. The second thing is transferable skills. You want to be able to make a laundry list of all the skills that you have today, and then make another list of all the skills that are needed in the job that you want in the corporate world, and then try and see which of these are applicable in the new job. There will be 100%. Yeah. So it's a very step-by-step process. For example, you say problem solving. and this one wants analytical. It's the same thing, right? So go into details on how this is relevant to the new job. Your transferable skills are your best friends when it comes to changing careers. And it's about having a story and messaging that says, this is what I've done. I've been really successful as a professor, and this is what I can do in the new job. Just, you just have to give me a chance, but I can already show you, not tell you, but show you how successful I've been and how it's relevant to the new job. It's a short answer for a very long question.
We just have 3 more minutes to go.
Yeah.
And we have 2 questions to answer.
Yeah.
Now that I had so much time on my hands because of being laid off, should I upskill and then apply for a new job, or start looking for a new job right away?
I would say you can do it simultaneously. So upskilling, you make people, so kritika, right? So it's like, I'm going to first do this, then I'm going to do this, right? So you're creating it, you're making it a longer process. So don't do that. I'm a big fan of firing multiple guns at the same time. So that's what I would do.
Okay. And the next one's from Janie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really suffering from low confidence after losing my job because of COVID. What should I do next?
I would say, Jenny, rewatch this masterclass. I've lost my job 3 times. I'm sure there's other people in the group today who also lost jobs. You have to have a very strong why. Why do you want to look for a job? Is it just because of income? Why is your confidence low? The whys have to be very, very answered, and it's very painful, because you're looking in the mirror. You're going to be answering some very difficult questions, uncomfortable questions. But it really, really helps when you have a clear laser focus objective. And my why is very clear. I mean, it's very personal. I don't want to get into it, but one of the whys I have is related to my family, and I want financial freedom and independence, etc. So you want to be able to be very focused on why you want to do it. What is the impact that you hope to create? And through sessions like this, I'm hoping this creates a positive impact, right? There's a ripple effect, which comes from helping women, because they help other women, right? So your why only you can define, Janie. I know people will tell you it's a phase, it's coming and it's going, but it's true, right? It's not going to define you. This is not an easy time. We're stuck inside the house. Obviously, it's not easy. It's happening to the best of us. It's happening to celebrities who are losing their mind, and you think they have everything they need, right? And yet it's painful for many people. So you're not alone. I will say you're in pretty good company. So reach out and talk to someone, talk to a close friend who you can trust, who's not going to judge you. And you've got to realize that what you're going through is you're not that special right now. Lots of people are going through it, and I would just say reach out and talk to someone.
Thank you.
Sonal, thanks for a wonderful session and helping us understand how we need to focus on and plan for a career that we want to have in the future, and not the job we lost. Thank you very much. I would also like to thank all of you for having attended this masterclass. Stay positive as much as possible and keep an optimistic spirit. Set realistic goals and stick to them. Thank you very much, Sonal.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you, girls, for being here. My absolute pleasure.
And we'll also share this recording of the masterclass on YouTube for continued viewing by a community probably in another 5 to 6 days.
Okay, fabulous.
And please follow Sonal. She's a mentor on JobsForHer portal. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.